Hey, okay, so I don't even care. I don't think anybody's going to be watching, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and see if I could share these these slides. So yeah, because I got some shit. And so I think it's really important to share what we see, what's going on Twitter with Elon Musk and his craziness, because he's crazy, right? The guy's a nutbag, and he's been propped up by freaking globalists, otherwise known as Zionists. Right? He's been propped up to be our savior. And so, who was it that famously said, when the people need a hero, give them one? They pulled that over us on with Trump, too, if you ask me. I said it. So, David Icke, as crazy as he is, too, he's probably one of the only conspiracy theorists that I really listen to anymore because I'm pretty sure that he's about right on all of it. So when he's busy calling out Alex Jones and Elon Musk and Russell Brand and all these other wannabe freaking saviors who are preaching, the conspiracy theory right wing gospel, he's pointing them out as controlled opposition. And fortunately, Elon Musk has allowed David Icke back on Twitter, which is now called X. If you really want to know about freaking conspiracies, look up what X means. So anyway, what David says is that Elon Musk has been posting regularly about the border, and basically the problem, reaction, solution to dilute an opposition to a biometric tracking system and border control using AI. So the MAM is the mainstream alternative media, right? And which is a psyop. Well, it's not a psyop. So the MAM hero and the psyop Trump is all for it, of course. Um, Trump's a psyop too. I've been saying it all along. Yeah, I voted for him and I support him. He was a better president than I'd ever seen in my lifetime, honestly. I liked how he was abrupt, annoying, and obviously rubbing the establishment the wrong way. But, he was meant to do that. So to corral and expose the patriots that hate the establishment. And he succeeded in that. So anyway, I'm not getting that's not part of my thing today, sort of, kind of. But anyway, so what David Icke is saying here, so better have an AI biometric border control system that then moves inland then, Mr. Musk. Is that the game? So Musk is saying the ability to discard your identification documents from any country, walk across the southern border and claim asylum has turned America into a refugee for the world's worst criminals. So they're seeding the headlines and with what their agenda is, which is to usher in the biometric tracking system for everybody, not just refugees crossing the border, but they're gonna elicit the support from us Americans for this biometric tracking system for refugees because we're sick of them flooding over our borders. So they're offering a solution, right? That's going to inevitably entrap us in the same thing. Yeah, freaking lame. And so wait a minute, we'll just do this, right? So here we have, back in, I think it was 2015, where Trump did a speech, and he recently did a different speech. It was equally as disturbing. Homeland Security reverses Trump era DNA collection plan. So you can go look up these articles if you want to, if you need more evidence or proof or whatever. But Trump he put in a plan to collect biometric data, which is, eyes, facial recognition software, your eyes, fingerprints, hands, chips eventually. Um, and so I don't know if this is going to share or not. Let's see. It's probably not going to share. I want to play this video here. Yeah, it's not going to let me share this. But where he says that in order to buy groceries that people will need to scan their hands. A new video that's out, but he has said it several times in different videos about his belief that it would be best for everybody to have biometric scanning in place. Um, and I don't know what's happening to my system here. It looks like it's crashing, maybe. Oh, all right. I overpowered it a little bit. I gave it too much to do, so we're gonna share this again. Okay. So anyway, it's all Wag the Dog. If you haven't seen that movie yet, please go watch the movie with Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, both assholes, I know, but they can act. They're perfect. They're perfectly good liars. And Wag the Dog is a perfect example of what's going on, whether that be the mainstream alternative media or CNN. It's all the same. And they are pulling the wool over our eyes, so to speak. They are tricking us, and they have been forever. So waking up, and we need to be as diligent and vigilant and whatever forever, more than ever, because it's coming down to it. If you want to not be bamboozled anymore, then you're going to need to pay attention. Either that or totally not pay attention and just take off right into the woods and live with your critters and your stone tools or whatever. I don't know, but there are options. I'm pretty, like, I don't know, I'm pretty freaked out about it all these days. And so anyway, NASA just tried to land some other piece of garbage on the moon. Then this whole thing's very interesting. And I've always been in the camp that um the the moon landing, there was definitely something weird going on with the moon landing. Okay. You can't believe everything that they tell us. And I've always kind of felt, yeah, I feel like we did land on the moon. But the first, all the first video, photos, all that stuff was faked. A lot of it was faked. Most of it was faked. But now I'm not so sure. The digger I deep into the new information, it's not even really new information. It's just information, a new rabbit hole that I've actually kind of gone down. And in the past with the moon stuff, I've just kind of scratched the surface, didn't really care. But now it's pretty obvious, I think, that it's all been BS. Because when you think about this piece of junk that they just sent to the moon, Odysseus lander, built and operated by a Houston-based space company, right, couldn't land on the moon. It wrecked. And so with that set aside, that information set aside, it was a complete failure. And then they pump it out there, right? And they tell us all about what a failure it is. It's like, how the fuck are we supposed to believe that a little capsule, right, landed on the moon in 1969 with how many dudes in it? And then they got out and they walked around for a little while. They even like drove a rover around on the moon, right? How did they get it all there if they can't even get this little piece of crap to land properly? And 50 something years later, with technology that we have better technology in our smart devices than the spacecraft they sent up there in 1969 in the 70s. So I mean, it's just obnoxious. It really is ridiculous that they expect us to believe this shit. And so then we have, the Van Allen radiation belt. So you looking this one up, going down this rabbit hole, it's impossible for human life with the technology that we have today in spacecrafts to even make it through this radiation belt. Here's the inner belt, low Earth orbit. Here's low Earth orbit right through here, right? That's low Earth orbit. where all of our satellites and stuff are. Although we do have some satellites out here in the geosynchronous orbit, whatnot. But I mean, those are little tiny. Anyway, I'm not a scientist, so I can't say that. But so, how is it that if we can't get through this belt, because there's no going to the moon or anywhere unless you can get equipment and human bodies through this belt, that it's like the strongest radiation a human being would ever even endure, right? That our no computer could make it through there without being completely destroyed. And so looking at this and kind of slightly going down this rabbit hole this morning, um, I wonder, I mean, why the hell aren't they taken off from the polls? Maybe they are. All right. We don't really know because they lie about everything. But if getting through this Van Allen radiation belt that is basically our magnetosphere, that's slipping and weakening, by the way, why wouldn't they take off? They have their rocket launches and such from the poles. I'm sure there's a pretty interesting, answer to that question, and I don't have it. I haven't thought about it that much. And so then we have NASA admits that they cannot send crafts through the Van Allen belt. And let's see if I can stream. If I could, yeah, this doesn't like this at all. Sorry, I'm trying to figure some things out here because I would like to share a different screen. Here we go. Let's see about that. Volume isn't going to
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth.
So this is a NASA scientist
15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station.
They have to solve the problem of getting through the
record radiation levels for scientists to study.
We
must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. And this video was posted 8 years ago. For this flight, so it's time to head home. The scientists even know, and they're all forced to sign disclosure agreements and all that crap, and they want to protect their $250,000 a year jobs, and help the great lie. I mean, how many people in NASA do they have airbrushing freaking Google Earth every time it updates? It's fucking ridiculous. That what has been pulled over our eyes. It's really fascinating, really, because we've all fallen for it because we're all just a bunch of fucking idiots. Even me. Really, I've got my views. We all do. So yeah, there's that going on. And so I don't know, maybe the weather modification program initiated by the military industrial complex and freaking creepazoids like Bill Gates is just an example of how jealous and how stupid and vindictive these people are, that they can't get to the moon. They can't get into outer space. So they're just going to destroy the Earth. I don't know. But there was a really interesting video I watched the other day on truth theory. The guy, he has a YouTube channel called Truth Theory. And I've heard this all before, but he reminded me of it, that, the agenda in place, the cabal, the deep state, the freaking lizards, the whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, whatever, they are an anti-life agenda. They are an anti-life cult. And who knows there's probably something worse to call them. But their entire plan, what they do is destroy organic life, everything all natural, that they just want to destroy it. And that, I mean, we can pontificate the reasons why all day long, but it boils down to evil, being anti-life. It's a death cult. and they're hell bent on just ruining everything natural, right? And you could see that everywhere because with our backwards, the backwards educational system that is ass backwards about teaching kids stuff, right? Ass backwards freaking highway stuff, how they don't plant things where there's open spaces of grass, how we're being it's been allowed for decades for us to spray poisons on weeds and to mow our grass and to cut things down and to just destroy things. And now I understand that there's a time and a place for mowing grass and for cutting things down, but on the scale that we have been brainwashed to think that it's appropriate, that it's necessary, is obnoxious and stupid. So, it's all around us, the evidence that these motherfuckers are just out to destroy natural life. Nobody's here to help us. Anyway, I'm going to quit ranting about that. So, I'm always looking at I love cataclysms and I love natural disasters. I'm sorry that they do hurt people and critters and destroy things, but I think it's like the most exciting adventure stories ever to know when volcanoes are going off or earthquakes or tsunamis or just the elements of the earth, and it's just fascinating to me. Right? It's always been fascinating to me. So I really think that something drastic is going to happen pretty soon. California, Texas, and the Mississippi River basin. And you could tell that they know what's going on and that they're going to use some of their creepy freaking technology, whether that be HARP or because HARP is doing all sorts of horrible things with the atmosphere, the ionosphere, the stratosphere. It has the ability to cause earthquakes. And we've got satellites in space that can glass freaking Hawaii that we've recently just seen. And nobody's talking anything about Argentina and the fires that are taking place there. The elites are busy burning out the areas that they want to rebuild. So something's going on with California. It's going to happen. And as we know, there's fires in Texas. They're after Texas. It serves a lot of purpose for them to burn things out, and that takes care of a lot of their so-called problems. This is, I'm not going to get into the video because this isn't the platform I'm on. Blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I think that the shit's going to hit the fan in California. California is the little whipping boy for the elites' fun and exciting earthquake technology, weather modification technology, because they get a real bang for their buck when they inundate California with storms and earthquakes and radiation and all sorts of stuff, because then they get to see all these landslides and they get to see storm surge and they get to see all the people that aren't smart enough to evacuate the state in the past 3 years or so suffer. And we know how much the freaking globalists love to watch us all suffer, right? So keep your eyes on California because more shit is coming. And you want to know what else I think is coming is I think that we're going to see the new Madrid fault system start to waken up, or just, slam awake all of a sudden and say, hey, here I am again. And so if you know your history, back in the what was it? Was it the late 1800s? Oh, it's over here. Here we go. So in 1895, there was a magnitude 6.8 right over here in the Reelfoot Lake area of Tennessee and the Boot Heel of Missouri. And it caused sand spouts, sand fissures on such a scale that there are still sand dunes, the evidence of these sand fissures. So when the earth shakes, it causes, liquefaction, and it causes the plates to divide and sink, right? So all this sand shot up because this is what's it called? Is it a graton or a craton? No, it's a graton. I believe it's a graton, which means that the plates are moving apart like this, and the land in between is sinking. So it's highly likely, in my mind anyway, that when this system, this fault area does its thing again, it could very well, because as we know, Houston is sinking. This whole area over here is slowly sinking. No, sea levels are not rising at this time, but this could easily drain the Great Lakes and the Gulf of Mexico, and we can have a inland sea here. And as we know over here, that California, the fault line runs up right through here, and that's moving northwest. So it's highly likely that this could crack all through down here, the Band of Sea, and the Pacific Ocean would just fill up that entire valley. Sacramento, see you, Sacramento. You'd be underwater. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, these earth changes have been more severe in Earth's history than now. So we've haven't seen a lot of earth changes in our history. So chances are it's coming. Yeah, y'all up in Western Massachusetts. I'm glad I moved over here to the Appalachians. So anyway, we can look forward to something in the New Madrid happening. I think probably this year. Um, and like I said, and like we know, and you should probably know that they have the technology to cause earthquakes and to actually rupture this fault line. If they wanted to, they can make Yellowstone blow up. Right here is Yellowstone supervolcano, and you can see its path over millions of years. This is its path right here. And if I had a different map, I could show you the calderas. So right here's the Yellowstone Lake, and right here's where the next eruption is going to take place. And over the course of the years, there's eruption after eruption that has created this kind of horseshoe valley. Anyway, moving on. On a lighter note, there could possibly be a new psychedelic for the hippies to go exploit. A frog in India has a mushroom sprouting out of it. Freaking fascinating. Look at this mushroom. Look at it. This mushroom on this little dude's side, right? So the frog was found with a mushroom sprouting on its side, leaving scientists baffled. So considering, the potency of most mushrooms, and that there are hundreds of species of mushrooms that will make you trip your balls off, or your ovaries, or the nail polish on your toes. How about that one? Make you trip the nail polish on your toes off, right? I don't have any nail polish on my toes anymore because that shit is toxic. More toxic than toxic frog serum, right? So maybe, just maybe, this new mushroom species on this frog could cure freaking cancer. Oh, but if it did, do you think that they'd tell us? Nah, no, they wouldn't tell us that. So I thought this was kind of fun because, there's people all over the world abducting frogs from their warm little spots under logs to scrape their backs for hallucinogenic toxins so they can have a spiritual experience, because their humanity and their spirituality is more important than any living thing on earth. And because we're human and we can do whatever the fuck we want, we're going to go out there and I'm going to take this toad against its will, scrape its back, and smoke its freaking serum because I need a spiritual experience. Whatever. I really actually want to try it. But no, actually I don't. Because, the creator gave us mushrooms. There's a reason why frogs have a poisonous venom on their backs that will make you trip your freaking face off. There's a reason, because you're not supposed to go licking toads, right? You really aren't. And if you do, you're going to see your demons because you're an asshole. You just violated that toad's freaking space. Seriously. Anyway, We're zooming back here. My computer is kind of slow. This is kind of annoying. Yeah, where are we? Stop sharing. We're going to share in that. Yeah. So, yeah, that was me, Reba, letting it rip for a minute. Oh, let's hide our face. If you want me to keep doing this kind of stuff and getting better at it as I go, then it would be awesome if you gave me a chunk of change. Support me on my Patreon. And just in your thoughts, prayers, and all that stuff, man, keep it up. You know, we need to be vigilant and keep our freaking eyes open. What's that dude say? Eyes open, no fear. Eyes open, no fear. Yeah, and I don't care if you think I'm crazy. You know, we're all going to die someday. Who gives a shit? And when I'm dead, this will be so entertaining for people who knew me, even if you didn't know me, right? Because when people are dead, people care about what they had to say. And I got a lot to say. So, yeah, anyway, blah, blah, blah.